Fox 23 continues to follow breaking news for you. Multiple fires burning across our area, strong winds blowing those flames into some homes now that we're seeing in some areas. I'm Clay Loney.
And I'm Shay Rozzi. We've been cutting into programming for the last hour now. In the Tulsa metro, more than 1,700 people are without power due to a broken power pole in Bixby. And we have large fires in Foraker and outside of Bartlesville.
Let's begin with that fire in Foraker. That's Osage County. Rick, you just watched the flames really just consume a home.
Yeah, and they still are. This is the first structure we've actually seen that's been lost. I'm about halfway between Foraker and Pawhuska. If you look at it on a map, it's southeast, kind of diagonal in between those two. But before we get to this house, I want to show you, they have trucks out here. I want to show you where the front lines of this fire is because it is moving rapidly. They are going into the woods right now, and there is one truck off in the distance. And there is actually, you can hear another tanker. They are going into the woods, and that is where the, oh my goodness. Well, they're going into the woods, but take a look. We now have a second home. They tried to actually spray water on this, but we are about to see a second home on fire. We believe these are vacant. However, they did try to save the home you're looking at. Now, the first home that we did see catch fire is almost totally gone. You can see it right there. We do not believe, from what we have seen, that anybody is at this time living there, but at the same time there are signs that someone may be there either seasonally or whatnot, because there's a fresh deer stand feeder, there's a propane tank out there, there's just some brand new stuff that we just don't know about yet. I don't know what to show you first. We've got that house, and then we've got this other house over here that is just going up within seconds right now. And these are the only structures we know about that have been taken by fire at this time. They have been very good about confirmed houses, new construction. This is just on the border of the Tall Grass Prairie Reserve. I can tell you the buffalo are fine, but as far as everything goes, this fire continues to move. Whoa, oh gosh. Take a look. I'm going to try to zoom in. Bear with me here. We have a wall of fire just behind me as well. And that is what they are fighting. Just so much out here to deal with that these crews are all dealing with. There is no command post is what I have been told. It is all hands on deck, all hands, get your hands on a hose, bring water, do something, no time for chit chat. And you can see that fire just on that ridge there in the distance. But we will go back to these homes here that are just on fire right now. And you can only pray that nobody is living or calling these two buildings home right now, because they are totally gone. And for the sake of these fire crews, you can only hope that these propane tanks are also empty out here as well. Hopefully they will get some relief very soon. For now, northwest of Pawhuska, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marin on Fox 23 News.
Hey, Rick, so while we have you there, I just want a couple of questions. Number one, where are you? You said that there was a wall of flames behind you, and then we see that in front of you. You're certainly in a safe place, yes?
Yes, I am on the northwest side, so pretty much the fires are blowing away from me, and that's where I've been this whole time. That's why fire crews are letting me out here, is because the fires are what you're looking at in the camera. These two homes, they are to my southeast. Okay. Where you saw the wall of flames, that is to my direct south, and so it is all just moving away from me, and that's why they've been letting me get this close, because obviously it's not going to blow back into the wind. The wind's going to carry it away from me.
All right, and Rick, we're also glad that you zoomed out to give us some perspective about how far away you are for those homes to stay safe, because Clay and I both looked at that propane tank and had the same thought of, you know, we don't know whether that's empty or not. We obviously, while you're doing a great job and an important job of bringing us these fires, most importantly, we want you to stay safe out there as well, not knowing what could happen once the flames reach that propane tank.
Rick, one other thing to put this in perspective in terms of what the firefighters are facing. These flames are moving so fast. Now they at one point, correct me if I'm wrong, on the house to the right, that's been burning longer. They finally said, we can't save it. Let's see if we can save the one on the left. And they tried. Obviously, now that is completely in flames. So they have abandoned that site? Have they just raced off to where they maybe can do some more good?
No, they need their resources in the woods. These homes, they tried to spray the house you see on the left. They tried to spray water on it, but then they kind of said, "Hey, let's just save our resources," because the one on the left, I'm not gonna lie to you, it looked like a shanty. The one on the right looked like if someone was living out here, that's where they would live. The one on the left, they were spraying water on it, and they said, "Forget it. We need to go to the front lines," which is in the woods behind this house, which obviously has plenty to eat and burn at this moment. But this, I mean, I thought they were going to try to save the house on the left, but you can just see the house on the left here is my goodness, actually getting worse than the first house that caught fire that was on the right.
Right. And in your understanding, has the fire actually reached the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve, or is it headed in that direction?
I drove on the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve, and it got really close. There were some spots on the southern corner that looked a little burned, but they got it. And everything has been pushing. If you were to look at a map, everything has been pushing from Foraker towards the Pawhuska area. Now, that doesn't mean Pawhuska's in danger right now. I want to make that certainly clear, but it is moving diagonal across a map southeast from Foraker to Pawhuska, and it has almost consumed. We're about halfway between there. It's consumed almost that much acreage so quickly. My goodness, I just got to show you this house. I have never seen anything like this in quite a long time. Oh my goodness, you just have to hope that nobody lives there. I don't think they do. The house on the right is almost gone as well. That is the one where I think if somebody were to live out here, they would live in that one. But my goodness, look at the house on the left. Yeah. Totally orange from the flames.
Right, it's almost hard to watch it. There is some comfort knowing, like you said,
I've seen a house fire this bad.
No.
Right, and you just hope, like you said, Rick, that house was abandoned and that the other one may be a seasonal home, that no one is living there, calling it home permanently, day in, day out. It is so hard to watch. Our firefighters have been up against it all afternoon because the winds, I mean, it's hard to drive right now. I know in my SUV driving into work, the wind, is trying to shake the car all over the road there, and that's just what our firefighters are up against. I mean, just one little spark. Our grass is so dry, despite the soil still being moist from the recent rain. The grass is dormant, it's dry, and with these winds, these flames are just taking off, and this is the result of that.
And to put it in perspective, if you've ever been through a tropical storm, ever been on the coast when there's a tropical storm blowing in, that's the kind of wind gust that we're seeing right now. And the 50-mile-per-hour range is right in the middle of that tropical storm range, from about 40 to up to 73. 50-mile-an-hour winds just whipping those flames across these very, very dry fields. Even if the ground is still a little bit wet from the recent rain, the grass is not. It's dry.
Right. And there is still some concern, Rick, we're still nervous about that propane tank, even if it's empty. You just have some concerns that there may be remnants in there or anything like that. That would just cause an explosion. Obviously, that would be the biggest concern right now. So we obviously want you to continue to keep a safe distance away, and glad there's a zoom on your camera so you can show us what's happening, but yet keep yourself safe.
This is completely in. This is as far as that lens will take you into that shot, because Rick is way out. See how he's far away from the scene. That's a smart view, so we can see what's going on. You're safe, and covering that fire that continues to move, as you said, toward the southeast in the direction of Pawhuska and some of the other fires that we're seeing.
Right, and I pulled up that map. He was talking about, if you pull up a map and look at Foraker to Pawhuska, it is that diagonal line, and the Tallgrass Prairie is to the east of that, so it seems like it's almost kind of burning on that edge going southeast. So that's good news if it doesn't reach that. Obviously, that would be everyone's hope. Right. Rick, you mentioned the fire spreading, a firewall kind of behind you. Are there any other homes in the area, or is the rest of this area pretty rural where you are?
Where this all started, it was all dotted with gas wells. But as this has advanced, it started to get into ranch land. If I passed a lot of homes, and they are standing. These are the only 2 homes that I know of and have seen that look like this. And the reason why they look like this is because they need the water on, I just can't believe what I'm looking at, guys.
Yeah.
They need the water on the front lines of this because it's going into the woods. And that is the priority here. From what I can tell, the house on the left was a shanty. I'm sure at one time was a lovely family home. The house on the right, we just do not know. And they are going into the woods. I can see them just off in the distance. I can't zoom in that close, but I can show you these houses here right now, and we are just watching as they burn while the resources are being directed to the front lines.
Okay, so again, that fire burning now beyond what you see here, those 2 what used to be homes across the prairie into the woods, but Rick, just to confirm, not toward any other homes that you know of right now.
Not that I know of here. I'm going to try to show you as much as I can of where the front lines are, where these resources are. Just bear with me here, since we have a little gap in the smoke. That's where the front lines are, going into the wooded area right now. And then it's been a long time. You know, you get in this business and you see pretty much everything. And it's been a long time since I've seen a house go like this. And it is completely wood. And they tried to save it and said, let's save the water for where it counts.
Yeah, and just look at that. I mean, you can just see from the force of the winds, just the fire and the flames and the smoke just blowing so hard over to the first house that had caught fire. I mean, you just tell the winds are still rather intense right there.
All right, Rick, stay safe. I know you are going to continue to monitor where that fire is going. You're working with the firefighters there, and we will continue to check back with you.
Now, Fox 23 has been seeing a split screen. We've been showing you, keeping you, giving you a live look where Fox 23's Rick Marinon has been live near that massive fire that burned through 2 homes there in Foraker, and we understand the homeowner has shown up. So we want to go back to Rick now.
Yeah, we know the homeowners actually are over here, and they said, why the heck didn't you save my house? You saved all these other houses, but we'll get into that later. Right now, we do want to zoom into where they are calling their attention, and we had actually been focusing on this just a few minutes ago, and that is on the first house where we were suspecting someone may have lived. That propane tank right there, they have soaked in water, and they are watching it now because they are concerned. That is the house that was inhabitable. The second one was being fixed up. The family had plans. This land has been in the family for a long time. The homeowners do not want to talk right now. They are just so upset. They said, why are all these other houses okay, but you let ours 2 burn? And honestly, these fire crews most likely thought that because of the condition at least one of the homes was in, they were vacant. But they said this is a childhood home, and we just knew this property had to belong to somebody, and they're out here. And I can still see fire crews going into the woods trying to stop more homes from being lost. But we do know that there was a homeowner that this is her lifelong home. Her and her husband are out here, and they're quite upset with what they've been seeing on their TV and now right in front of their face. So we'll wrap up out here and get ready for 5 o'clock, and we'll send it back to y'all.
All right, Rick, again, watching that scene there, we've been looking at that propane tape now for the next last 45 minutes, keeping it cool, watering it down right now.
Right.
All right, let's return our live look there, because that's where the firefighters were fighting to just try to save a couple of old homes, and eventually just said we can't do it. And that's what's left of the first one they were trying to save. That was a white home, a childhood home. We were learning just about 5-10 minutes ago from Rick. Somebody showed up, said, hey, that was my childhood home, it's gone. They've been watching, again, that propane tank that you see in the foreground right next to what was the house, and they have watered it down at one point at least to try to keep it relatively cool. Don't know if anything is still in that.
Right, and this is the area of Foraker, really between Foraker and Pawhuska, kind of along the west side of the Tallgrass Prairie. And the fire we saw earlier this afternoon around 4 o'clock, it was really spreading through the fields where there were gas wells and oil wells, it appeared to be, and then just spread across ranch land, where here there are 2 houses nearly side by side on this acreage here. And this is the second house that caught fire. They thought this one looked vacant. Rick thought it appeared to be vacant too. It was the older of the two homes, but sadly the homeowners just came back and said that they were trying to fix this home up. But the firefighters, they've had, you can see the wind still just blowing that smoke across, and that's the threat that lingers right now. And as the fire continued to spread, the firefighters had to continue to try to get ahead of it before it spread to even more land and potentially more homes.
Right, and the house you're looking at here, or what was the house, this one burned at least twice as fast as that first house. I don't know if it's because it was closer to that original line of flames, or maybe it's older and had just more older wood and went up easier. Don't know, but that thing went up and it was just orange. You could hardly see even the wood in the home. It was just a fireball. Here in the foreground, you see all the black, scorched prairie land. That's where the fire just swept across so quickly. Again, 50-mile-per-hour gusts pushing those flames across. They hit those homes, and there was not much they could do. Right,
and the good news is, though, we have heard that no injuries have been reported in this fire, and no injuries or evacuations have been reported in that Washington County fire, where Fox 23's Ashley Lincoln has been bringing us reports to another area where fires just spread so fast. You see a car driving now in Rick's shot, and it's got to be devastating to the landowners here when you come and you see not only your land scorched, but two homes on your property now wiped out, and the flames still burning.
Yeah, and Rick was saying the one to the right, the home that this car is now approaching, appeared to be the one that somebody might have stayed in. It looked like there was an active deer stand in that area and this kind of thing. So it's quite possible that this, assuming this is the owner, this is the family perhaps, they're going back to see, oh my goodness, is anything that we left there still there for us? And I think the answer is no, unless it was in a really good fire-safe box of some sort. Just seeing where they grew up as children, according to Rick, it's now gone.
It still makes me nervous that there is that large propane tank there, even if it's empty. That's still a possible danger there. So it makes me nervous that they are that close as the flames continue to burn, but it's probably so emotional for them taking this all in right now.
Covering news that matters. Fox 23 News at 5 starts right now.
All right, time for our continuing coverage here at 5 o'clock as we continue to look at this evolving scene in Osage County. This is just to the southeast of the little community of Foraker. To the left, on the left part of the screen, what we think would be the owners of this property just pulling up and seeing what was their childhood home. It's now gone.
Two homes wiped out there. Thank you for joining us. He's Clay Loney. I'm Shay Rozzi. We've been bringing you special coverage over the last hour of the dangerous winds that have been fueling fires across green country. Speeds of winds up to 50 miles an hour, pushing those fires across the region tonight and complicating the work for firefighters.
At this point, the Fox 23 Severe Weather Team is monitoring the fire threat across the area, other problems caused by the strong winds we've been telling you about. We've been cutting into programming now with live updates for you over the last couple of hours now. Let's begin with Fox 23's Rick Marinon as we continue to look in Osage County at what they're dealing with there. Rick.
Yeah, it's a pretty sad scene. I talked to these people just before they drove on their property, and the woman's in tears. She's wondering why all of these homes around her are saved, and yet these two, which were presumed to be vacant, which we now know weren't, are burned to the ground. I'm going to zoom in and walk you through the scene out here because this was the front lines of the fire. The front lines are now in the woods behind that house that continues to burn. You can bear with me here as I get behind the camera. And the homeowners out here, they did warn fire crews that propane tank was a big concern for them, and they watered it down, but I'm not sure just how well that will work. But obviously they wanted to get close, see if they could salvage anything, and so far you can see there is just absolutely nothing left. That is just home number one, and it was a very wooden structure, the first home to catch fire. Nothing is left, but bear with me as I zoom out here. I'll show you home number two that they tried to initially save. I'm sorry, I went too far. That they tried to initially save. Nothing left at all. of that home. That is wood. They sprayed, excuse me, it's very dusty out here. They tried to spray water on it at first, and then they just said, look, we've got to take that water and go to the front lines. The front lines of that firefight is actually in between those homes in the wooded area right there in front of you. And actually, I'm going to do a slow pan and just show you the devastation across the area, because this fire has traveled just so fast. It had plenty to eat. You can see there is a tanker truck over there that is just now moving in to take care of more hot spots. And that is to my southwest. The homes were to my southeast. And it is just all, right now, a wasteland out here. And the fires out here. These are the only two structures we know about as far as Osage County that continue to burn. And you can only imagine what they're looking at sitting in their car right there. And say a little prayer, have your thoughts with them. And we're going to continue to stay out here and monitor this. This has been such a big fire. There is no command post. We have not been able to speak with fire crews yet because it is all hands on deck. If you have a hand and you are a fireman, you need to have your hands on a hose and you need to be working to put this out. And this fire continues to march. We started outside of Foraker. If you look at a map, Foraker to Pawhuska, we're about halfway there. And that is where this fire continues to march to the southeast. And oh my gosh, they are going even closer. We can only hope that propane tank right there is secure. We saw fire crews out there who secured that, but I can only imagine what they're thinking. Reporting live northwest of Pawhuska, covering news that matters. I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
Yeah, absolutely devastating for the family to lose the property, the homes there as well. We're certainly keeping them in our thoughts now. The saving grace, though, is that no injuries have been reported. Starting with Fox 23's Rick Marinon, he's in Osage County where flames destroyed at least 2 homes and is live with a look at what's left. Rick.
Yeah, the flames are actually still burning. You can see another puff of smoke just over my shoulder here. That the fire continues to move to the southwest towards the Pawhuska area from Foraker, and I saw one pop up northwest of me where this all started, but they've gotten that under control. But smoke still lingers. I want to walk you through. We are getting closer to the homes that were destroyed, and here is one of them. If you were joining us at I believe it was 4:45, this house was just engulfed in flames. We have spoken with the homeowners. They did not want to talk on camera, but they tell us simply that they are just shocked that how quickly these buildings went up. And we do know that right now the fire crews are in the woods right now fighting the rest of this fire, hoping for some relief once the sun goes down. But right now it's actually getting harder because it's just cold out here, and pretty much this thing is just, it ate everything it could consume, whether that is dry grass, trees, you name it. It's all burned up out here, and it moved rather quickly. So far, we have had no reports of injuries, and that includes 2 animals. We are out here by the tall grass prairie, and that the buffaloes are fine as well. But so far, little progress has been made, but we believe it could possibly be contained at this point. There is no command post. Right now, it's all hands on deck. Reporting live in Osage County, covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.